Hello and welcome to Boomtown Hoops Live. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me, we got Jesse. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, shocker folks, have lost again, this time to the Cleveland Cavaliers, 129-102. Another blowout, Jesse. This is the Thunder's, I believe, they've gone on a stretch of 1-8 in their past 9 games, 3 of 10 in their past 13. And most of these games aren't even close. So your thoughts going into tonight? Are you surprised to see the Thunder take the L to the Cavs? What are your thoughts here?
I think it's brutal, especially because in last night's game, we had the big Poku performance for me. So that kind of was the highlight for me. There wasn't much of that in this game for me. I know Ty Jerome did finish with 23, and he probably had the best night for us, but I wouldn't say it was as flashy as Poku's night the night before. So, yeah, this one was pretty brutal for me, at least. I know you were kind of talking about how important this one actually was to lose, but it's hard for me to get in that mindset.
Which is totally fair. Yeah, because it is hard, especially because we went through this season where I wasn't necessarily rooting for losses, where I just wanted to see something good happen. But with how just frankly terrible the Thunder have been recently, and with how things are shaping up where the Thunder can really make a move down here, this game against the Cavs was huge. Going into it, Oklahoma City and Cleveland were... Oklahoma City only had one loss less than Cleveland, so a win there would have just kind of been a 2-game kind of leap. You kind of have to think reverse engineering here. How you would if this were a playoff chase, which it is a very, very much not a playoff chase anymore. But this was a huge win for the Tank. They now are tied in the loss column for 5th worst record in the league, which is great if that's your sort of thing. But in general, that's the thing you need to do to kind of soothe the wounds of honestly just watching that game was tough. It was tough. Oklahoma City wasn't bad to start. They were shooting 60% from 3, which is that's good. If you're doing that, you'll probably stick in any game. But when they cooled off to around 40% in the second half, that's when the Cavs and Darius Garland and Colin Sexton took over. Your thoughts on the young Cavaliers guards tonight?
I really like Sexton. I think we put him on the free throw line too many times, but generally I do really like him, and I think he had a pretty solid night. For me, it was the third that was the most brutal. And looking now, we only scored 14, so that kind of explains it a little bit. The first was fun, though. I thought Teo came out and looked good. He was kind of in some foul trouble, but I thought he had a really solid start. So that's what I was holding on to. But then, the first didn't outplay the third fizzle for me in this one, and I'm down.
Yeah, I will say, silver lining here, the fact that we don't expect to be good really makes those bad third quarters that we're all accustomed to a little bit easier to handle. So that used to be just the worst about those Scott Brooks and Billy Donovan teams. I don't know what was with them, but so let's talk about probably the lead performer tonight. Easy, sneakily, Ty Jerome, 23 points on 5 for 9 shooting from 3. Just a really hot night shooting for Ty off the bench. How have you liked his play so far in a Thunder jersey? And, do you think this guy really could be a big part of this team going forward?
So I didn't know much about him before this season. I will say there's once a game where he gets in the lane and scores when I don't expect him to, and he shoots better than I would have expected him to. So I would say he's exceeded my expectations, but like I said, I didn't really know much about him. I liked Frank Jackson. So when he got cut, Ty Jerome was on the list for me that I was like, why? But now I do understand. So I did think he had a pretty nice night. It's hard to get excited about this one. I can understand what the scheme is here, but it didn't make it fun to watch,
Fair enough. So instead of just talking about this mediocre game, I would like to shout out Jalen Horde for his best game of the season so far, 12 points. Good game for Maladone. Sean, I agree. This team is unwatchable. But you know who is not unwatchable? Maybe tonight, not great, but last night, your guy Poku put on a damn show. Thunder, actually, I believe rookie record, 7 threes in a game. What was your reaction to that? We're just going crazy?
Yeah, so we had kind of decided we were just going to do both games tonight. So I had not initially started watching the game. I was watching the Yankees. And then I got all these updates about how great Poku was doing. And I'm like, well, he's doing it without me. So then I was like trying to watch both. I did go back and watch the full game. And I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about Coach D for a little bit because we saw Poku get mad and slam the ball. And he was pretty heavy-handed with him on it. And initially I was like, don't ever talk to baby like that. But like looking back at it, I think I really like his reaction because, I mean, Poku was kind of being a little bit of a turd. You know, he did slam the ball down. So I wanted to see what your vibe was on Coach D over all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't know what was going on because you just never see a reaction out of Daignault like that. But then hearing about what it was and the fact that it wasn't his own mistake, that I think he's totally in it. And the thing that really stood out to me is the lip readers in the crowd, and I'm not going to go with the full name because I don't want DY and Shep to kill me. But him saying you've messed up plenty of times. That's a good point. That's something you need to know because it builds a culture of accountability, everyone looking out for each other, and that goes for the coach as well. You don't want to put down other guys on your team, and that's something I love to see. I also would have loved to see Daignault do that to Russell Westbrook, circa 2011, around like the Thabo Cephalosha. I just wanted to see what that would look like. Russ would not handle that well at all.
No. And like initially I didn't either. I was like, why are you being so mean to him? Because I kind of put blinders up with all things Poku. Like it's only good for me. But then like the turnovers and stuff. So like I understand. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, I really like that reaction from him. And I don't think I expected myself to kind of turn that way. But in result, I like Coach D, and that's it.
I agree. I love Coach D. I love the culture he's building. Carlos Latrell Sprewell. Oh my gosh, that's a great connection there. But I would hope Westbrook wouldn't do that, but probably would. I just can't imagine someone pointing a finger at Russell like that and it not going brutally bad. That was a sharp finger point. I gotta say, I respect it. I like having a head coach that can really command his team like that. And this team's too young to have an ego, so I know it's different than that. But I like the start. I like the start. He's the guy we need in charge. I'm fully sold on Daignault. Anything else you want to say about either tonight's game or how the Thunder are in general? I don't really know. These are some tough times, but I'm loving the tank. Any thoughts on the draft so far? Cunningham, Jalen Suggs, anyone other than Cade you would really like to see?
I mean, I think I'm pretty fixated on Cade, probably because he's the one that I know the most about. So outside of that, I try not to look too much into that because I feel like I could have pinpointed who I think we're going to get, and the chances of that happening are pretty slim. So I'm more the kind like, let's wait and see, and then I'll decide if I like the move. So I don't know. I know we have a lot happening. We kind of talked about the player we picked up today, and then like someone may have to be waived and all that. So I don't know. It's just tough times for me. Like this game was not fun to watch. I don't like losing to the Cavs by 30, even if that is the design of the night. So I know this is just kind of the rough patch, but I'm hoping they can at least make some of the games fun to watch. So
yeah, Speaking of the new guy, rumor has it we're going to sign Gabriel Deck from Real Madrid, the basketball version. He is an Argentinian, 6'6" forward. Apparently, I don't know how much you've heard about him. Kobe Bryant was a big fan of this guy. Wanted the Lakers to sign him. Manu Ginobili's big on him. The Argentinians are thrilled about having him on board. So what do you think Deck from just I don't know if you've seen anything from him, but what do you think of the Thunder's kind of let's just try out a bunch of random guys and see what it fits strategy? And do you like the move of bringing someone on this late?
I think it's a little weird, honestly, but this whole season has kind of been for me. I did get into some of the Twitter threads and kind of learned a little bit more about him. I mean, once again, I'm more I need to see it myself before I can fully decide, but I don't know. I mean, I'm trying not to be surprised by anything at this point. I've already talked about the Hami stuff that super shocked me. So in comparison to that, this is just okay, let's go, So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
It's not a painful thing. We just added a guy, which is totally fine. Nate's brought up a pretty interesting point here. 2 important games coming up against the Wizards. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, that I think that we actually did it post-game, a pre-game. That'll be a really interesting stretch, and it'll be very easy to watch because we can have Russell Westbrook. So there we go. Yeah. He also brought up a good point. 3 years for a 26-year-old. That's crazy. That's the Pablo Prigioni type of deal right there. That's a super late, kind of European export, but
yeah. And I mean, it's just kind of the 3 years kind of threw me off a little. We just did a 10-day contract. We did a 2-way deal, all of that. And then they threw the 3 years at me. And with his age and stuff, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. He's in that Kenny Hustle age range. So I'm open to just about anything at this point. I mean, I think we are going to pull it all together. This is just the rough patch we got to get through. And it's Absolutely. Not fun right now.
Yeah, that's true. And Presti's going to do weird stuff. I mean, Jalen Horde, earlier this season, there was a tweet that announced him being signed, and then in the exact same tweet announced that he got cut. So Presti's been making weird moves, doing a lot of stuff. To me, this is kind of like an active training camp. They're doing it during the season. And I don't know. It's not fun to watch, but I trust his methods. This is fun. No one else could say they could do this. So
no, and as frustrated as I am this season, I also can't look away. So I guess that's probably a good thing. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just a mess this season. I don't like it, but I can't not watch either.
Yeah, I it's been a weird season because I've never felt so attached to the team because I have to constantly watch it for all this stuff, and also so detached because of the guys. You can't, no games. It's in-person games. It's felt weird, but you know what? I believe in the process, and I think we're going to come out on the other side of this and have a really good organization, a really good team, and I think we're going to get back to championships. Don't know when, but I think this is the way. But yeah, it's been a bad car wreck this year since SGA's been out.
It has, yeah.
But I mean, even with
Lou and the list goes on, and then they put them front row. There's nothing else to watch because there's no fans. So I literally just have to sit there and watch Lou and SGA and Moose on the bench. And I feel that makes it even worse.
Because they're just hanging out. There could be so much fun going on. But I mean, there would also be wins, so can't have that. But Jesse, these 2 games I don't think warranted 15 minutes, but I had a blast. I had a blast talking. Always a fun time catching up, talking some Thunder. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for all of y'all watching, very much appreciate y'all checking in, dropping some disses on everyone. It's always a good time. And can we play a set with Danila's theme? Of course I can. Of course I can, Sean. Y'all watched. I'll do what you want me to. This is we serve the people here. It's been a long game, long day. So, anyways. Jesse, any final thoughts before we head out of here?
I just want a win soon. Just one. Just give me one win and I'll be quiet for a while.
See, I kind of thought that one win was going to be Charlotte, and that didn't go well. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We do play the Raptors again. That might be the chance. So,
or give me like one player back. Like, can I have Lou? Can I have Isaiah Roby? Like, just give me one thing to kind of latch on to.
It's gotten to the point where we're asking for Roby. We just need one Roby, and this team is infinitely more watchable. Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. I mean, that's the funny thing. The last time we won a game, the only difference between that team and this team is Roby. Roby's the glue.
I know. So. And then, like, when Kenny Hustle hurt his ankle, I was like, I can't lose Kenny right now, okay? Like, you cannot take him away from me. And then, thankfully, he's still been playing, but I'm like, I'm on, like, very thin ice here. Like, you have to give me something to get excited for.
Just something. They're looking like 2K, created players in, like, yes. 2032 right now, so I don't know. But anyways, thank you all for watching. This has been the Boomtown Hoops postgame show. We'll catch you around sometime. I don't know when, but I'm just being honest. We might lose to the 76ers by 60, and I don't want to spend my Saturday night doing that.
Oh, I know.
I'm just going to be honest. Hand up that we probably won't be here on Saturday. Magic Johnson gif and everything, like, I ain't going to be here. But always fun hanging out with y'all. So you asked, here it is, Danilo Gallinari. And